I will call the regular meeting of the Board of Aldermen to order at 7:30. The clerk will read the prayer, and Alderman Shoneman will lead us in the pledge to the flag.
Almighty God, we have the high honor and serious duty to manage the affairs of our beloved city. Fill us, O God, with a spirit of unity and understanding, which enables us to face our multiple problems with a serene mind, with justice and charity for all, so that any and all decisions made by us will always be for the betterment and greater happiness of all our fellow citizens. So help us God. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Would the clerk please call the roll?
Alderman Wilshire. Here. Alderman Clemmons.
Here.
Alderman Cookson. Alderman Dowd.
Present.
Alderman Karen. Here. Alderman Siegel. Alderman Shoneman.
Here.
Alderwoman Malizzi-Gola. Alderman McGinnis. Alderman LeBrun.
Here.
Alderman Moriarty.
Here.
Alderman O'Brien.
Present.
Alderman Lopez.
Here.
Alderman McCarthy.
Present.
We have 10 members present.
Alderman McGinnis is ill and unable to attend, and Alderwoman Lizzie Golia is up at the zoning board and expects to join us later on. Also present are Mayor James Donchis and Corporation Counsel Stephen A. Bolton. Does the mayor wish to address the board?
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. First, I'd like to welcome Alderman-elect David Tenza to the Board of Aldermen. I know he's going to be sworn in soon and will take, I think, David Dean's seat. So it's nice to have a full complement, and I welcome him to the board. Next, I wanted to mention something that's going on Friday at 9 a.m., which is a ceremony commemorating the 1-year anniversary of the city's Safe Stations program. As you will recall, we opened our fire stations to be available 24/7 for anyone who wants to seek help with any kind of an addiction. And we have joined with a number of partners in the community, including AMR, the Partnership for Successful Living or Harbor Homes, Revive Recovery, and others to make this program effective. And as a result of a very large team effort, I think that over the course of the last 18 months, we have considerably strengthened the city's response with respect to the opioid crisis. But there are many but still we can do more, and I think we can improve our response. And I was thinking about telling you more tonight, but I think what is really required is for us to bring forward a presentation to the Board of Aldermen, which would include all these partners, and you can hear in detail what's going on and where we started and where we've come. ODs, according to the AMR statistics, overdoses are down 24% from a year ago, but unfortunately, fatalities still are occurring. And I do believe there are additional things we can do to strengthen the city's response. And I look forward to organizing a presentation where we can elaborate more fully on everything that's happened so far and everything that we may be able to do in the future. Now, on Friday, we are having the ceremony at all of the fire stations at 9 a.m. So there's a ceremony at each station. The main one will be at East Hollis Street. Of course, you're all invited to come to any of them, either the main one or any of the other stations. The point is to thank all of the participants, all of the firefighters and others, the management of NFR, who've been very involved in making this program a success. Next, I wanted to mention that Alderman Dowd and I attended the ribbon cutting for the soccer fields at Charlotte Avenue. The fields look great. How they did this, it's almost a miracle. They made a dust patch into some very lush fields, and those now are ready for use, and that was a really great day, and I'm glad that those are now going to help expand recreational opportunities for our young people. I wanted to mention, this is an award that the city won. This is the community, really, not just the city government. It's the Creative Communities Award given by the State Council for the Arts, which is awarded every few years. This is given by the State Council of the Arts and by the governor as a result of all of the arts organizations that are active in Nashua, and as a result of all the opportunities in the arts that are available here. So this is a very significant award of which I think we all should be proud. And again, this is a huge team effort involving the entire community. Tom, of course, is on the board of Positive Street Art, but there are many, many other organizations that are contributing, and so I wanted to show you the award. Next, we dedicated the Veterans Mural over at Quincy Street, done by Positive Street Art on Saturday. I know a number of you attended. It was a really nice ceremony. The mural really, I think, expresses in a very moving fashion the debt that the community and the country owes to our veterans, but also is a beautiful addition to the Quincy Street neighborhood. And so I want to thank Positive Street Art for putting all that together. And as I said, Tom is on the, Alderman Lopez is on the board of directors. Tomorrow night, there's the award ceremony for the winners of the Solid Waste Department's Recycling Calendar Poster Contest. I think that's at 5 o'clock upstairs on the 3rd floor. So if any of you would like to come to that, you would, of course, be very welcome. And finally, Mr. President, I'm sure you read in the paper that George Kadis of Nashua Wallpaper and of now the hardware store won the Citizens of Year Award given by the Chamber of Commerce. He's been downtown and operating a successful business for about 50 years. That award is well-deserved, and I want to congratulate him on winning that. And finally, I hope you all have a happy Thanksgiving. And that's all I have, Mr. President.
Are there any responses to the remarks of the mayor? Alderman Dowd.
I just want to concur with the mayor, thank the people that were responsible for putting the new fields together at Charlotte Avenue. There was a ball field there that hadn't been maintained forever, and now it's a beautiful green space, and the amount of work that was done in such a short time to get it all completed by now is just phenomenal, and I congratulate the Board of Public Works and the Park Rec for all the work they did.
Any further responses? Recognition period.
There is none.
Reading of the minutes of the previous meeting. Alderwoman Wilshire.
Thank you. I move that the minutes of the Board of Aldermen meeting of October 24th, 2017 be accepted, placed on file, and the reading suspended.
Motion is that the minutes of the Board of Aldermen meeting of October 24th, 2017 be accepted, placed on file, and that the readings be suspended. Discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And that motion carries. Communications. Alderman Clemmons.
Thank you. I move that all communications be read by title only.
Motion is that communications be read by title only. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And that motion carries.
Communication from Patricia DiPietsu, City Clerk, relative to record of returns of the municipal election held November 7, 2017.
Alderman Clemmons.
Thank you. I would move to accept, place on file, I'm sorry, let me start over. I would move to accept and place on file the record of returns from the municipal election of November 7th, 2017, that the election results for the candidates named therein be declared final and conclusive, and that the candidates having received the largest number of votes cast for the number of positions available for the respective offices be declared duly elected by roll call vote for the ensuing term.
Motion is to accept and place on file the record of the returns from the municipal election of November 7th, 2017, that the election results for the candidates named therein be declared final and conclusive, and that the candidates having received the largest number of votes cast for the number of positions available for the respective offices be declared duly elected by roll call vote for the ensuing term. Is there any discussion? If not, would the clerk please call the roll?
Alderman Wilshire.
Yes.
Alderman Clemmons.
Yes.
Alderman Dowd.
Yes.
Alderman Karen.
Yes.
Alderman Shoneman.
Yes.
Alderman LeBrun.
Yes.
Alderman Moriarty.
Yes.
Alderman O'Brien.
Yes.
Alderman Lopez.
Yes.
Alderman McCarthy.
Yes.
We have 10 yeas, no nays.
The motion carries. Pursuant to Charter Section 44, as David C. Tenza received the most votes for the office of Alderman at large, I'll ask Corporation Counsel to swear in Mr. Tenza to complete the unexpired term of David W. Dean. Mr. Tenza, would you please come forward?
Raise your right hand, please. Do you solemnly swear that you will faithfully and impartially discharge and perform all the duties incumbent upon you as an Alderman at large of the city of Nashville, according to the best of your abilities, agreeably to the rules and regulations of the city charter and the Constitution and laws of the state of New Hampshire, so help you God? Yes. Congratulations.
Communication from Tim Cummins, Director of Economic Development, relative to Rail Transit Committee membership.
Alderman O'Brien.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to make a motion to accept and place on file said communications.
Motion is to accept and place on file. Is there any discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Period for public comment relative to items expected to be acted upon this evening. Two people have signed up. Adam Marcoux.
I'm Adam Marcoux, 4 Jalori Lane, President of the National Teachers Union, here to speak on behalf of the legislation for the paraeducator contract. First, like to thank the members who endorsed this legislation and to the Budget Review Committee for sending it forward to the full board with a unanimous decision. Paraeducators play a role in our district that I think a lot of people don't fully understand unless you work with them every day. As a classroom teacher, I was fortunate enough to have paraeducators work in my classroom with me side by side. And there are days that my job was made easier because of those people. They often work with students that have severe behavior issues, disabilities. Their job descriptions are clearly laid out on the school district website for you. And they're not often recognized for the work that they provide our district every day. So I'm here to speak on behalf of their contract and thank them publicly for the work that they do in our district every day, and hope for a positive result tonight. Thank you.
Having trouble reading the second name. Tim begins with a D from 15. Sorry about that. I just, before you begin, the police contract that's on there is only up for first reading this evening, so it would actually be appropriate to speak at the public second comment period, but let me ask if there's anyone who objects to you speaking now.
Actually, that was, not to jump in on you, but that was my plan. I wasn't sure it was to be acted on today, so
Oh,
if it's
okay.
not, then I'm good with just waiting until the second meeting.
All right,
That comes back,
I'll
so.
I'll call you at the second comment period then, if
Thank
you
you.
will. Petitions?
Petitions received regarding street renumbering.
Alderman Dowd, is there a motion on Alderman Cookson's desk?
Motion to accept the street renumbering petition, assign it to the Committee on Infrastructure, and that a public hearing be scheduled for Wednesday, December 13th, 2017, at 7 PM in the Aldermanic Chamber.
Motion is to accept the street numbering petition, assign it to the Committee on Infrastructure, and that a public hearing be scheduled for Wednesday, December 13th, 2017, at 7 PM in the Aldermanic Chamber. Is there any discussion of that motion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And that motion carries. Nominations, appointments, and elections.
There are none.
Reports of committees. If there are no objections, I will declare the report of the Budget Review Committee of October 30th, 2017 accepted and placed on file. And if there are no objections, I will declare the report of the Finance Committee of October 18th, 2017 accepted and placed on file. Written reports from liaisons.
None.
Confirmation of the mayor's
There
appointments.
are none.
Unfinished business resolutions.
Second reading of Resolution 17-141, approving the cost items of a collective bargaining agreement between the Nashua Board of Education and the Nashua Teachers Union, Local Number 1044, AFT, AFL-CIO, Unit B Para-Educators, from July 1, 2017 through June 30th, 2020, and authorizing related transfers.
Alderman Dowd.
Yes, I'd like to make a motion for final passage of R 17-141. I'd like to talk to it.
Motion is for final passage of R 17-141. Before you speak to it, I will point out that I will be recusing myself as this is my wife's bargaining unit. Alderman Dowd.
Yes, as you heard, there was a unanimous decision in favor of this contract at the Budget Committee. The paras fully deserve to try and catch up in their pay. They do a phenomenal job for the city of Nashua and the education of our students here in Nashua, and for very little pay and very little benefits. And this contract tries to at least catch up a little bit so that they can be better compensated. And many of the paras are required by state and federal law, so I ask that we support it.
Any further discussion? Alderman Shoneman.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm on the Budget Committee, and I supported it there, and I'll support this contract here. I think that we get good value, great value from the paraeducators. I think they do a great job. They help out in the classroom. They're probably more hands-on with students than anybody. They don't make a lot of money, and I'm very grateful to them for their service to the city and to the children, and I will support this contract. Thank you.
Further discussion? If not, would the clerk please call the roll?
Alderman Wilshire.
Yes.
Alderman Clemmons.
Yes.
Alderman Tenza.
Yes.
Alderman Dowd.
Yes.
Alderman Karen.
Yes.
Alderman Shinniman.
Yes.
Alderman LeBrun.
Yes.
Alderman Moriarty.
Yes.
Alderman O'Brien.
Yes.
Alderman Lopez.
Yes.
And Alderman McCarthy recusing himself. We have 10 yeas.
Motion carries, and R 17-141 is adopted.
Second reading of Resolution 17-142, authorizing a one-time stipend to the Board of Public Works Retirement System retirees as requested by the Board of Public Works Retirement System Board of Trustees.
Alderman O'Brien.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to motion for final passage of R 17-142.
Motion is for final passage of R 17-142. Discussion? Alderman Karen.
Yes, I will have to recuse myself because my husband's a member of this pension program.
Any further discussion? I'll ask the clerk to call the roll.
Alderman Wilshire.
Yes.
Alderman Clemmons.
Yes.
Alderman Tenza.
Yes.
Alderman Dowd.
Yes.
Alderman Karen just recused herself. Alderman Shinniman.
Yes.
Alderman LeBrun.
Yes.
Alderman Moriarty.
Yes.
Alderman O'Brien.
Yes.
Alderman Lopez.
Yes.
Alderman McCarthy.
Yes.
We have 10 yeas.
Motion carries, and R 17-142 is adopted. Unfinished business ordinances.
There are none.
New business resolutions.
First reading of Resolution 17-144, approving the cost items of a collective bargaining agreement between the Nashua Board of Police Commissioners and Teamsters Local 633 from July 1, 2017 through June 30, 2020, and authorizing a related transfer of $15,428.
Are there additional sponsors? Alderman Clemmons. R-17-144 will be assigned to the Budget Review Committee.
First reading of Resolution 17-145, approving the cost items of a collective bargaining agreement between the National Board of Police Commissioners and National Police Communication Employees, NEBPA, Local 125, IUPA, AFL-CIO, from July 1, 2016 through June 30th, 2019, and authorizing related transfer of $42,200.
Additional sponsors, Alderman Clemmons, and R-17-145 will be assigned to the Budget Review Committee.
First reading of Resolution 17-146, relative to the acceptance and appropriation of $300,000 from the State of New Hampshire Department of Safety State Homeland Security Grant Program into Citywide Communications Grant Activity 2017 Nashua Manchester Communications Redundancy Grant.
Additional sponsors, Alderman Lopez, Alderman O'Brien, Alderman Dowd, Alderman Karen, and Alderman Clemmons. R-17-146 will be assigned to the Human Affairs Committee.
First reading of Resolution 17-147, relative to the acceptance and appropriation of $15,000 from the United States Department of Homeland Security and the New Hampshire Department of Safety into Emergency Management Grant Activity 2016 Pre-Disaster Mitigation PDM Grant.
Any additional sponsors? Alderman Wilshire, Alderman Dowd, Alderman Karen, Alderman O'Brien, Alderman Lopez. And R-17-147 will be assigned to the Human Affairs Committee.
First reading of Resolution 17-148, approving an amendment to the lease and operating agreement with AVSG LP.
Additional sponsors, R-17-148 will be assigned to the Finance Committee.
First reading of Resolution 17-149, relative to the acceptance and appropriation of $58,000 from the State of New Hampshire into Police Grant Activity FY 2018 Violence Against Women Grant Program, and to authorize the transfer of $69,318.
Additional sponsors, Alderman Dowd, Alderman Karen, Alderman O'Brien, Alderman Lopez. R-17-149 will be assigned to the Human Affairs Committee.
First reading of Resolution 17-150, relative to the acceptance and appropriation of $26,032.02 from the State of New Hampshire Department of Safety into Police Grant Activity FY 2018 Sustained Traffic Enforcement Program, STEP.
Additional sponsors, Alderman O'Brien, Alderman Lopez, Alderman Dowd, Alderman Karen. R-17-150 will be assigned to the Human Affairs Committee.
First reading of Resolution 17-151, relative to the acceptance and appropriation of $25,200 from the State of New Hampshire Department of Safety into Police Grant Activity FY 2018 Driving While Intoxicated DWI Enforcement.
Additional sponsors, Alderman Dowd, Alderman Karen, Alderman O'Brien, Alderman Lopez. R-17-151 will be assigned to the Human Affairs Committee.
First reading of Resolution 17-152, relative to the acceptance and appropriation of $200,000 from the State of New Hampshire Department of Natural and Cultural Resources into Community Development Grant Activity, Greeley Park Boat Ramp Improvements, and to authorize the transfer of $75,000 from general contingency.
Additional sponsors, Alderman Wilshire, Alderman Clemmons, Alderman Dowd, Alderman Karen, Alderman O'Brien. And R-17-152 will be assigned to the Human Affairs Committee.
First reading of Resolution 17-153, relative to the acceptance and appropriation of an additional $112,770.24 from the State of New Hampshire Department of Health and Human Services into the Transit Grant Activity Federal Transit Authority FTA Operating Grant.
Additional sponsors, Alderman Wilshire, Alderman Clemmons, Alderman Dowd, Alderman Karen, Alderman O'Brien, and Alderman Lopez. R-17-153 will be assigned to the Human Affairs Committee.
First reading of Resolution 17-154, relative to the acceptance and appropriation of $65,000 from the State of New Hampshire Department of Transportation into Transit Grant Activity, Capital Outlay, Rolling Stock.
Alderman Wilshire, Alderman Clemmons, Alderman Karen, Alderman O'Brien, and Alderman Lopez as additional sponsors. And R-17-154 will be assigned to the Human Affairs Committee. Alderman Moriarty, do you have a motion?
I do. I move that the rules be so far suspended as to allow for the first reading of resolutions received after the agenda was prepared.
Motion is that the rules be so far suspended as to allow for the first reading of resolutions received after the agenda was prepared. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
First reading of Resolution 17-155, authorizing Penachuk Corporation and Penachuk East Utility, Inc. to enter into a long-term loan and fixed asset line of credit with CoBank and to refinance intercompany loans.
Additional sponsors, Alderman Dowd. R-17-155 will be assigned to the Pennachuck Special Water Committee.
First reading of Resolution 17-156, approving the proposal of Penachuk Corporation to enter into a replacement line of credit with TD Bank, N.A.
Additional sponsors, Alderman Dowd. R-17-156 will be assigned to the Pennachuck Water Special Committee.
First reading of Resolution 17-157, authorizing Penachuk Corporation and Penachuk Waterworks, Inc. to issue bonds and enter into a fixed asset line of credit with TD Bank, N.A.
Alderman Dowd, and R-17-157 will be assigned to the Pennachuck Water Special Committee. New business ordinances,
First reading of ordinance 17-047, establishing a handicap parking space in front of 15 Merrill Street.
additional sponsors, Alderman Dowd and Alderman Lopez. O-17-47 will be assigned to the Committee on Infrastructure.
First reading of ordinance 17-048, authorizing stop signs on Beeson Street at its intersection with Berkeley and Raymond Streets.
Any additional sponsors? Ordinance O-17-48 will be assigned to the Committee on Infrastructure. Alderman Dowd, is there another motion on Alderman Cookson's desk?
I'd make the motion that rules be so far suspended as to allow for the first reading of ordinances received after the agenda was prepared.
Motion is that the rules be so far suspended as to allow for the first reading of ordinances received after the agenda was prepared. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
First reading of ordinance 17-049, removing the parking meetings and establishing a 2-hour parking time limit on Cottage Street.
Any additional sponsors? O-17-49 will be assigned to the Committee on Infrastructure.
First reading of ordinance 17-050, establishing a 2-hour parking time limit on Quincy Street.
Any additional sponsors? O-17-50 will be assigned to the Committee on Infrastructure.
First reading of ordinance 17-051, adding additional streets to the overnight on-street parking program temporarily.
Additional sponsors, Alderman Wilshire, Alderman Clemmons, Alderman Dowd, and O-17-51 will be assigned to the Committee on Infrastructure.
First reading of ordinance 17-052, authorizing free holiday parking at meters in Zone 3, which includes the Elm Street and High Street parking garages, from December 10, 2017 through January 1, 2018.
Additional sponsors, Alderman Karen, Alderman Wilshire, Alderman Lopez, Alderman O'Brien, and myself. And O-17-52 will be assigned to the Committee on Infrastructure. Alderman Clemmons,
Could you refer that to the Downtown Improvement Committee as well?
and to the Downtown Improvements Committee.
Thank you.
Period for general public comment. I think the one gentleman who had wanted to speak has left. Remarks by members of the board. Let's start over here. Alderman Lopez.
I just wanted to thank the mayor for recognition of all the work that was put into the Veterans mural on Quincy Street. The mural is called The Promise. It was dedicated to veterans who keep their hearts and minds, or keep their families in their hearts and minds while they serve, and it is a promise to do the same.
Alderman O'Brien.
Thank you. I would like to echo Alderman Lopez. I went to the dedication ceremony. It was cold and windy, as those who were there know, but it was definitely worth it, and it's a fine tribute to our veterans. And also like to take the liberty to remark as we start this holiday season, Thanksgiving's coming up first, so wish a happy Thanksgiving to all. Thank you.
Anybody else? Alderman Karen.
Thank you. I have been driving by Quincy Street and have watched the work progress on that mural, so I am really fascinated. I was fascinated what the job they did there. The other thing, too, is I would like to thank our Chief of Police, Mr. Chief Lavoy, and his staff for a wonderful program that I attended for the last 9 weeks with Alderman Wilshire, and that's the Citizens Academy. If you haven't had a chance to do this, you should take the time. You would be amazed at the things that our police department do and how safe we should feel within the city and how proud we should be with the young men and women who serve our community in the Nashua Police Department. I was overwhelmed, and I know that I dealt with the police department over 40 years, but boy, we have come a long way, and every chief that has been there for the last 4, 5, 10 chiefs, they really have pushed the boundaries for their people, and we can be very, very proud of it. And I hope that more people take advantage of it next year. And also, congratulations to Ed Leicius for the fine job that he does for putting that program together. And it was nice to get a certificate that said honorable on it. Thank you. And happy Thanksgiving to everyone.
Alderman Dowd.
Yeah, I'd just like to say I was at the dedication of the street art on Quincy Street, and it was cold, but it was a fantastic event. There were a lot of veterans there, freezing, but it was a very moving tribute, and I want to thank Alderman Lopez for all that he had to do with it, and it's something that everyone should take a look at because it's really nice. Also, the Veterans Parade afterwards was a great parade. I know it was lightly attended, again, because of the cold, but the people who were there, very enthusiastic about supporting the veterans. I was also at the gala, and a very fitting tribute for George Katzis, well-deserved for all that he's done. So, and happy Thanksgiving.
Alderman Clemens.
Thank you. I wanted to just take time to just congratulate the clerk on a wonderful job done at the election. It was the first election after the craziness that they passed up at the State House this year, and I know that a lot of the diligence comes with enforcing election laws and such like that is not easy, but it was an election that went very smooth. There were no issues at the polls, and so I think you deserve a pat on the back. So.
Alderman Wilshire.
Thank you. I, too, would like to thank the police department for putting on the Citizens Academy. I've been the liaison to the police department for many years. I thought I knew everything about the police department, but I'll tell you, I don't. It was truly eye-opening. I mean, the people that came in and presented their departments and the work they do were very proud, very humble. It was just really awesome, really fantastic. Learned so much, and I have even more respect, if that's possible, for the police department at this point. And also, I'd like to wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving.
I was at the dedication of the mural as well, and it was a great event. It wasn't that cold. And I was only wearing a spring jacket. So.
Wasn't working.
I'd actually like to thank Positive Street Art for everything that they've done for this community. They've certainly turned it up a notch on the streets of Nashua, and the work for the veterans, I think, is fantastic. And also, my congratulations to George Katis. He certainly deserved that award. Best part about it was Louis Tiant was actually at the gala. So, and welcome Alderman Tenza. Committee announcements, Alderman Wilshire, would you like to announce a lengthy meeting of the Human Affairs
Yes,
Committee?
the Human Affairs Committee will be meeting this Thursday at 7 PM here in the Aldermanic Chamber. Bring your sleeping bags and your tents, and we'll have a great meeting.
Other committee announcements? Do we have a meeting scheduled with the Penachuk Committee?
Not yet.
Okay. Any other committee?
That's a hint.
Any other committee announcements? Is there a motion? Alderman Wilshire.
Move to adjourn.
Motion is to adjourn. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned at 8:05.